what is taught in books is not necessarily what you find in the field. However, the experience and the knowledge you get would then help you to make decisions at the workplace, but also for life. So one should never be tied by the academics. Academics is supposed to help someone think, not necessarily produce someone who will work. It's supposed to just help you think. Why would you do communication skills?
Careers have significantly evolved over the years, from what our parents told us we should become, or from the things we said we wish to be when we grow up.
I just knew that I needed a job to get our family from a place of dependence. I mean, strictly it's poverty, because we grew up with difficult circumstances. So I grew up knowing that poverty is bad.
Poverty is the enemy.
Yes.
How does career success really look like for us today, and what does it take to build a successful career?
When I was in third year, I got an opportunity to work at Royal Media Services.
Wow.
And I thank God, because that gave me a picture of what I had always wanted. But also, it gave me a picture or realization that this is not really what I badly want. You can want something, but maybe not so bad.
Not so badly, yeah.
So I felt, maybe not. There's this guy on TikTok who says, not yet. So I felt a not yet.
Yeah. What are we to consider before moving from one job to another? Is flexibility more important? Is the paycheck more important? Is purpose and meaning more important in our choosing of careers? These are things that we explore today with our guest, who is none other than Francis Wachira.
I don't think that people should fear changing jobs when they need to, because then again, you also don't want to remain not very useful for an organization and disturbing managers, disturbing everyone because you are not clear about what you need to do.
Should you pursue higher education, or skill is all that you need in the job market? These are questions we will explore today.
There are times when, like, say you are driving and a car breaks down, you are the masses of the mechanic.
Yes.
You won't start telling them, I need your KCP certificate or your KCSE certificate. Where did you go to school? No. What you want is for them to sort out the deal, to fix the car. If they fix, then you pay them for that, because that's what they do. So really, people get paid for what they do, not what they have studied.
Francis is an experienced communications manager and an ICF certified coach. He has an interesting view on career and shares how his career aligns with his purpose in life.
So there are times he would use the vehicle of career for me to realize his purpose, for example. So whenever I'm in an organization, I would ask myself, so why me and why this period? And what
is it for such a time as this?
For such a time as this, what does God expect of me in such a time? So for me, I think it's important to live for a higher ideal than simply working to get a living or to make money, or simply to feel nice about feeling that you have achieved a purpose.
He's also passionate about helping people find meaning and purpose in what they do. If you're yet to subscribe to this channel, this is another wonderful opportunity to invite you to join this community, and let us learn together the many things that we are curious about. Thank you very much, Francis, for having us at your place to have this discussion. Today we are talking about career, and I think when I thought about having a discussion around career, you're the first one that came to mind, because I've had a lot. I've heard you talk about career a lot, especially how to brand yourself and shape yourself and present yourself out there. And I thought, why not have this conversation with you? I think in the recent past, we have witnessed a big shift in how people view career. Growing up, my parents used to tell me you have to be a doctor, an engineer. You know, there were certain careers that were careers that you should do. You know, if you do anything else from that, you're not actually working. Your parents will be looking for a job for you for a long time. Yes, but that has shifted over time. So maybe for you, I don't know, how has your journey in career or shaping your career been? Maybe you can start from growing up. Did you know what you wanted to do, and how has that evolved over time?
So thank you for having me, and I think these are very timely conversations, so to speak. And so I find myself talk about careers, I think accidentally, because I think it came out of a situation of just sharing my thoughts with someone. People think, oh, maybe you can talk about this subject. So I appreciate that some of the lessons that I've been able to grasp over time can be helpful to people. To your question, so growing up, I just knew that I needed a job to get our family from a place of dependence. I mean, strictly it's poverty, because we grew up with difficult circumstances. So I grew up knowing that poverty is bad.
Poverty is the enemy.
Yes. At least, I think somewhere in high school, I would tell the difference. In primary school, I was quite okay because I was deep in the village. In high school, because I was in a day school, so I used to visit some friends. So there is this one that the mom had asked that I support with some coaching. So we were poor, but at least I was smart. Sometimes
So these things started.
you can't like everything.
Yes.
And, I was able to read and grasp concepts in school, and so I was supporting this guy. And so for me, the first amusement was they're eating beef for lunch, like so random.
Wow.
Which I thought for us, because we want to take beef once a month. If it was twice, it was because of matumbo. You know. So for me, the notion of working was built from a desire to make an income, at least for myself, and also extend the same support to my family.
The goal is a better life.
Yes, this is a better life, not because I want to become a doctor. I had never motivations of becoming an engineer. I mean, the context could not even allow you to have such thoughts. The thought was just get a better life and get out of this place. I think it's also because of exposure. We had not been so much exposed at that point. And so with time, I got interested in pursuing communication, interestingly, in class 8.
Oh, wow. How did that come about?
Yeah, so because we had a canteen, a canteen that had a hall. So canteen where people would buy, wherever you have canteens in campuses where you can go and buy whatever you need for feeding. The canteen had, so the organization had provided a hall and bought a TV for the people in the place within the vicinity to watch, because it was owned by one company, because it was a tea estate. So I felt, I mean, these guys, including myself, who come to sit and watch TV from here, these guys can actually watch me. So that was the motivation. They should be watching me. But now, of course, that statement was oblivious of certain things that would change. For example, by the time I'm getting to become a news anchor, these guys, most of them have retired or they're not in that place. So technically, like right now, I know very few people would know me if I go to that place. But that's where the desire to pursue communication came in, journalism specifically. Then in high school, I was able to appreciate that actually if you go to campus and pursue journalism, then you can actually end up in the screens. Of course, that's just one of the routes people get in the screens because of other reasons.
So it was mostly the news bit, not like you watched a certain maybe show, somebody acting or something.
This was purely news. This was purely news. Wow. Yeah. So I got the interest, but also I think the compounding factor was the fact that I was doing well in the languages. So in high school, the ministry then started a concept called Operation Effective 40, just to ensure that students are able to get maximum benefit from the 40 minutes per lesson. So part of the strategies was to elect class reps for each subject. So I found the language teachers, falling towards me, but I preferred them to take on the English class rep. But still, the Swahili teacher would still have wanted to have me as a class rep.
Because you're good in all the languages.
Yeah. So the class rep was to be teaching, but so that in case the teacher delays for 10 minutes, so this class rep should take over the class until at the point that the teacher comes. So if the teacher does not show up, then
the lesson is not gone.
Yeah, I mean that's the guy. I mean, So I remember a few classes, and salute Mr. Karemi is my biggest cheerleader currently at Alliance. He gave me opportunity to teach.
Wow.
At times he would come and say, "No, you are the teacher." He sits in the audience, so that's how I developed GPS for languages, and then of course communication came in.
Wow!
Yeah.
So this was in campus.
This was in high school.
Ah, wow!
Yeah.
So at this point, as you said, when you were joining high school, you had already developed some interest in journalism.
Yes, I had. It was of course not very clear, but I think there's also a way of just taking a step at a time. So I knew what I needed was a grade that would get me to campus. And I was, when I learned actually the University of Nairobi was offering the communication course, I was so excited. But now that excitement dwindled when I noted that they offer the course, but only for Module 2 students. So noting where I had come from, and my high school was actually a day school. I studied in a day school. So you can already imagine the social structure of the institution, such that even getting a grade to the university, in most day schools, it's not normally very easy. But I noted that they're only doing for Module 2 students. But I never gave up. I still felt I could land there somehow.
Wow.
Yes.
Good.
Yeah.
So how did you get there?
Well, I finished Form 4 and got a B+. I also got admitted to Masinde Muliro University for communication degree. Wow. I remember we were 14 students in class.
Only 14?
Only 14 students our year. There were so that period they never picked Module 2 students. So you can imagine that the entire campus has only first years.
Yes.
We were less than 2,000. So the whole campus, a campus that ordinarily hosts about 10,000 to 15,000 students, has only 2,000. Yeah. So,
is it because it was starting or?
No. It's because I think the management, because the campus had been there for a number of years. It got chartered in 2006, and this was 2012. So 6 years later, there have been many who had, but then it's interesting that all the continuing students went on long holidays, sometimes in April 2012, and then we were left only first years. So I remember the first lesson, one of the professors gave people assignments to write. Professor Kabaji, I'm sure is someone who will be interested to watch this podcast. So Prof gave a writing assignment and said every class would have a writing assignment. So guys chose other courses. So we really, I think the number, because initially we were about 30 something, but the number came down all the way to 14 students. And I think by the time we were done with first year, we were about 11.
Because they were scared of writing.
They were scared of writing. Everyone wants to be in campus. So I remember one of my friends there's an English dictionary that is right here. It was donated by one of the guys. So I benefited from guys getting scared of writing and choosing, other courses. So that's how I really, and I chose, that was my first option. My first option was to pursue journalism, so I never ran towards changing courses. I was just comfortable, and also comfortable being in a university that is not really known. Like most didn't have a name because they're the big universities that people would think of, but I didn't mind that I went there.
Wow, interesting. So, and studying now in campus, now you have actually gotten to a place where you're actually pursuing your dream now.
Yeah.
How was it? Was it meeting your expectations? Was it, as you were going through the classes, did you feel like this is actually what I really want to do, or did it, how was that?
No, it's interesting that I was convinced that I'm taking the right trajectory. And I remember just before joining campus, I took time off to pray and fast. I had never done this. Well, the major motivation for me was because I was not seeing fees in sight. So I decided, I was working in an organization that the owner had put up a prayer center. So part of my work, yes. Oh. So part of my work was to be an admin for the prayer center. So I knew guys normally come here to pray. So when I felt that there is just too much, and the time for me to, when my contract is coming to an end, because the contract had to come to an end when I'm just about to join campus. So I ended my contract about 2 weeks before. So I said, wait a minute, I just need to use this facility for prayers because the other people have been coming here. So actually it took off a whole week for the very first time in my life to actually be in a place of prayer for a week talking to the Lord. So my conviction was born out of a place of conviction. And what am I saying? I almost was very sure that this is the direction that God wants me. I never thought about any other course. I never thought about education. I never thought. I had applied for IT, I think in JK, not I think I'm so sure it is in JKU. But still I felt, in as much as I was good in the physics, maths and all, I felt that then this is an area that I would wish to pursue. So I was quite excited. I was happy about the writing. I think that year I actually wrote a book. Paying the Price was the name of the title of the book. It was about 10,000 words that the prof asked us to write a book about paying the price. I wrote about someone abstract, yet I was really talking about my life. 10,000 words. Then that gave me the impetus to write a personal book, which I named Morning Awaits. But I haven't been able to publish because sometimes I read and feel, I should have written better. Maybe when I grow up, I need to get an editor to just help me to finalize on the book. But yes, I actually did write Morning Awaits over the course of my campus. But
what was the inspiration?
The inspiration is really to write about my life, and with the hope that this life can be a motivation to someone. And part of my publication process was, since I can't really publish, I opened a blog in 2012 and started writing topical issues that touched on me as a person. I also was utilizing the notes feature on Facebook. So I don't know whether it's still there, but Facebook actually had a section on notes where you can write an article as long as 3,000 words and people can read. And I actually had many people reading notes. So it's interesting. After this, I should check whether those notes are still there.
I've not seen it, at least.
Yeah, it used to be there. I used to write notes and then open a blog, which is still alive up to now. I don't write quite a bit. But content consumption has changed over time as well.
Wow. Because for me now, the way I want to share the things I'm thinking about is through now doing this.
Yes, because you have, in terms of audiences, more interested in user-generated content as opposed to then written content, in as much as the written is still helpful. You still have the customers for it.
Definitely. So you've mentioned how you're very certain about the course you wanted to do, and when you got to campus, it actually turned out to I think that was even a more affirmed that this is what you want to do. But that does not happen for most people, either because of the grade they got or for whatever reason. That does not turn out to be, they don't get to either pursue the course they wanted, or they're still even not sure about what really they would want to do. I don't know what advice you'd give to such a person.
Yeah, I think for me, it's about first degrees. People should never be tied to their first degrees. You get an opportunity to reinvent the wheel. So it's interesting that before I chose to pursue communication, I actually wanted to do law. But the cut-off points would not allow me. And I was so confident that this is what I want to pursue. But I knew, on the contrary, on the other side, I am happy to pursue communication or journalism at this point. So I'd never got the cut-off points, but right now, if I wanted to do law, I can do it. Because for law, you can't take it at a master's level if you didn't do it at undergraduate level. There are certain courses, architecture, medicine. So there are some courses that you simply cannot pursue them at a higher level, especially for the pure sciences. You would need to pursue. For pure sciences, it's much difficult. You must start it from beneath. So for me, one should never be tied by a lack of opportunity to pursue the course they have wanted at the undergraduate level. I think for the reason that a first degree helps you to find your footing.
To open your mind.
And having where I am right now, I actually think that academics is supposed to help someone think, not necessarily produce someone who will work. It's supposed to just help you think. Why would you do communication skills? For example, yet you're doing engineering. Why would you need to do some basic calculus, yet you're pursuing something else, something that has nothing to do with maths? It's really to enhance someone's thinking capacity. When you go for masters, it's really to sharpen and to have your thinking get a better background or foundation. So academics do not produce better workers or smarter workers or smarter people, so to speak. It simply helps people to think
better,
because what is taught in books is not necessarily what you find in the field. However, the experience and the knowledge you get would then help you to make decisions at the workplace, but also for life. So one should never be tied by the academics and say, so there are times I'm called upon to speak on leadership issues. I don't have a degree in leadership. I'm talking about careers right now. Majorly it's a HR person who would be speaking about this, but it's because of interest and the fact that my mind has been shaped to think, to become a better thinker. So where will I get content? I don't know, maybe I'll get it online. But online can only help me because I already know how to think and how to look for information and information that will be suitable to a certain audience. So for me, that's one of the package about one should never be tied. You can still pursue whichever you want to, whichever degree you want to pursue. You don't have to be tied by a lack of the first degree. Now, there's the other route of starting wherever you want to start. You can start with a diploma. One of my sisters is actually pursuing a certificate in IT. She was really struggling through high school, but it's just because of the education system. Because it's about
the training is different.
It's just to study and cram and pass exams. And so she wouldn't do so well. So after school, we asked her, so in her case, it was not so good. So after school, we asked her, so what do you want to pursue? And she says IT, and you're wondering, IT with your grades? No, she said, yeah, this is what I want to pursue. And interestingly for us, her performance has been, simply, hardly would you find B's or C. She simply gets A's because then that's a path that she pursued. And she has started at the certificate level. And I think the next month or so, January, there she should be starting her diploma. We said, you can still grow as you work. So then one can start wherever. Can start with the certificate. I have friends who are like me, wanted to do law, but their grades wouldn't allow. And they started with diplomas. I have a friend who is working currently in the US, who actually did her degree in pharmacy in JKUAT. But started with a certificate in pharmacy, then went to a diploma, then a certificate. Right now, she's pursuing her master's and working in the US. So one should never be tied by what the society has branded as the right or proper career path. No. You can still pursue your path. It's unfortunate some people will go ahead of you, and it's life, really. I mean, you have your own path.
Definitely.
If someone is running faster, just let them run.
The highway.
Sometimes you're on the side where there is traffic, sometimes you're on the side where there is no traffic, but that is life.
The goal should be to keep moving.
Just keep moving, but at your pace. If it is too slow, of course, you need to check so that you're not too slow. But I think there's a way people should cut themselves some slack to simply appreciate that my journey is unique. I can't be like so and so. And you give yourself peace and allow yourself some latitude to just pursue your journey.
Wow, amazing. I think I really resonate with what you're saying, because like for me, I think I didn't get to do what I wanted to do. I did something else, and that opened different doors actually that I didn't even think that would be things that I would be interested in. So
life opens up things, and then you just pick what is there, you run with it. And things shape as you get. The good thing is that just get moving. Just get moving. Don't spectate. I think the medal is taken by someone in the arena, not people in the. cheering squads.
Very
You're not the spectators.
awesome. So now finishing campus, how is it now getting outside? Because as you said from the beginning, your journey, your goal was to beat poverty.
Yeah.
So how is that now after finishing campus, finding a job, and especially as right now, I think the percentage of unemployment is quite high. So how was that at your time when you're finishing campus?
Yeah. First, I need to mention that when I was in third year, I got an opportunity to work at Royal Media Services.
Wow.
And I thank God because that gave me a picture of what I had always wanted. But also, it gave me a picture or realization that this is not really what I badly want. No, you can want something, but maybe not so badly.
Not so badly, yeah.
So I felt maybe not. So there's this guy on TikTok who says, not yet. So I felt a not yet.
Not yet.
After
It is, but not yet.
Yeah, not yet. And I thank one of my friends who gave me the opportunity to, being a believer, she is a believer, gave me an opportunity to actually know this is really not it. So after campus, of course, I worked with Focus. Part of my engagement was supporting the communications department. So whenever there were conferences, the PR director then, and Gladys, shout out to her, she gave us opportunity to simply experience. There are times where you give you a camera, just go and shoot some photos in Focus in the field.
Yeah.
And then you return and she tells you, maybe try these options, try these options. So she mentored us. For Focus conferences, we also got... I took a few videos, photos, and then there were tracks on communication. I remember for the first time when I was in STEM, there was a National Leadership Summit, NLS then, which later moved on to become NLMS, the other the mentorship element. So she and Gladys gave me an opportunity to train guys who are serving in ICT and publicity and managing communications in the CU setup. So, which for me was interesting because now I started gaining opportunities to exercise what I am good at, and I felt this is giving me some level of interest and fulfillment. Later on, of course, I got a job in a university setting, AIU, where I was in charge of graduate students. So again, that helped me to just shape up. And I got also, part of my work was supporting the communications department to a very large extent because it seemed that I was the only person qualified for communications then. Others had just interests. So they also gave me a leeway. The VC then asked me to be in charge of producing a newsletter for the university because he felt I could do it. So I felt that working out communication in an organizational setting was giving me a lot of fulfillment. Then it would have been the TV. In as much as I tried to pursue radio, I tried to pursue TV as well. It couldn't work. But now in this organizational setting, I felt I was getting a little comfortable. And of course, I started earning. I started supporting a family at home, not much. Compared to the war still is on. So sometimes in 2020, I think after COVID, that's when my family started feeling that I'm actually supporting them because a number of them were not working over that period. Yet God allowed me to be promoted wherever I was.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Nice. Wonderful. You have mentioned about first starting while you're in third year at Royal Media Services. I don't know how that looked like. I think I've often had this complaint that people say that whatever they are studying in campus, it's not what really they find in the workplace. So that how can you talk about sometimes the disconnect between the theories you're learning in class and the practical things that you find in the workplace?
Yeah.
But also the place of pushing yourself in terms of not just being fixed with the things that you're learning, but even going beyond, because I can imagine like for communication, like at least you have distinguished there's the organization bit of communication and there's what you're doing with cameras, Royal Media. So how do you balance all that?
So I think first is to appreciate that school will not give you everything. And sometimes public institutions have a way of not really doing too much, because maybe the people teaching you are civil servants. There are times I felt our classes would kick off sometimes a month to the exam.
Wow.
So you find that there was no lecturer to teach because part-time teachers are not being paid.
Yeah.
So they're insufficient. So the person who comes there actually gives you cuts very quickly, and then you prepare for the exams, and you guys have to pass because, again, you have not been taught across the semester. So I found a lot of disconnect between what is being, not necessarily what is being taught in school, but even the fact that faculty members would be available to teach through the semester. So having taken my master's in a private university, it was a culture shock, the fact that we would start learning the first day. Like, there are no excuses. There are no settling down. Although we are registering for classes.
For units.
We were calling nominal roll. Don't know what they call it nowadays. But so a lot of time would get wasted because of that. So you find that a lot of what would have been covered will not be available.
Yeah.
The other thing, especially being in a production setting for the attachment period within the media services, I noted that for production, there are things you'd have to teach yourself. For example, the institution didn't have a camera. The school doesn't have a camera. So you just know how to aim and shoot the old Kodak cameras. Wow. No one would teach you. Like, for say production, you have the footage. What do you do with the footage? So it's during my internship, I got to learn about Final Cut. Wow. Now, interestingly, I had a classmate who was actually doing video production. Classmate. So he knows about Final Cut.
Yes. But you didn't know.
I didn't know. I didn't know about it, not even knowing it. I didn't know about it. But this is a guy who is doing news production for a leading TV station, my classmate. So I felt this guy, because he sends himself najituma, and that's how he would be able to handle that. I was on radio production side, but I was taught by students from Kenya Institute of Mass Communication. A shout out to Maureen and Teddy. Teddy would know himself. Teddy Oyo, who held my hands and taught me how to use Adobe Auditions to do radio production. And then within no time, of course, I learned very quickly, and we were doing production together. Together with Jacob Isia, who's currently in Radio Citizen. We worked together during that period. But I could see a difference. In Kenya Mass, students are simply getting hands-on training.
Yes.
But for us here, we are passing exams. We're just here to pass exams. And it's interesting that Kenya Mass is also a government-owned institution, but then the approach was more practical. Until I got to the master's level and actually learned that even undergraduates in days at this point would get exposure. So there is a studio, there is a radio station. It's not TV yet, but again, the kind of teaching, for example, in design and TV production, video production, movie production, film studies, are actually really, really hands-on, that people get to do projects. You are sent to the field, go get a clip, come back with it. So I felt now, where I studied in Masinde, people became more writers, because there's a lot of emphasis on writing than they would do production. And some of my colleagues who studied together, they're really doing well in leading media houses. At least some of them are quite some good writers, both for corporate NGOs, because of the foundation for writing. But for other interests that you could be having, it just simply helps that take initiative and get to teach yourself. These learning institutions won't give you everything.
Wow. Jituma is important.
Just send yourself. And please add withdraw fees.
That you have to go beyond the classroom and whatever the school is offering.
Yes, same case when
you want and pursue it.
Sure. And same case even with the PhD level. So you find that PhD is much more about research. So there's an area of research that I'm interested in. So no one will come to teach me about it. So it's with the knowledge that I know about research. Can I research on my interest? and then pursue it. But no one will sit me down to teach me that area that I know, that I'm interested in. And I mean, a class has about, some classes are as big as 60 students for some common courses, and as few as 10 students for more concentrative courses. I mean, a teacher won't sit to take every student through
in the interest.
Yeah, no. So you really have to then take initiative and get to learn more about a subject that you'd want to.
So it's almost like you're just given a foundation, then you have to build.
The rest is up.
You're interested.
Yeah. Oh. And the same applies for workplaces. There is what you interview for, but then there is what you find that the organization needs. And sometimes with the move of jobs, you get to understand that what was a measure of success in company A may not be a requirement in company B. So it's just put all that experience aside and then focus and ask, so what do I want to solve in this B organization? And then that helps to then repurpose. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Wow. Thank you for that. I think that's very insightful. So around the place of seeking a job and beating poverty, there's this at times you find yourself, you're passionate about something, but then this is your degree. And I think that's a dilemma that I really got into when I finished campus. I had my procurement degree and I had interests in production. And most people tell me, just get a job in procurement, build it up until the point where you can sustain your passion, then drop the other one. The people told me, wezi kula na passion. But somehow I navigated through the passion and somehow
here you are.
made it alive. Yes. So what will be advice for such a person in such a dilemma of they are passionate in something, maybe it's totally different from what they have a degree in, but also they need to pay bills.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's unfortunate that passion cannot be measured, But I think there is an inspiration. There is something that makes one tick. Like, really, this is what I would wish to pursue, right? And I think that's really what makes a difference with regard to how then you can translate that passion into something that could make someone an income. I remember a friend who used to perform so well. They worked in a research institution and felt, actually, this research I've been doing here, I could actually monetize it. And so they started, their own company. They decided that my house will be the office. So they're working in town and said, by me not working from town, I have reduced my my expenditure by almost half. So he could work from his house and meet clients in hotels. By the time he got a lot of pressure to have a physical office. But then he asked, how many people do I meet? And then he had his own house, a bedroom house. Why do I need an office? And the people he was working for are really individuals. They're not necessarily people. And then if I want an office, I can always get one. They're shared office spaces. This Nairobi, there are so many of them, and you can rent that place for half a day, whole day, 1 week if you want. You can even rent it for a month if you want, if you wanted. And so he was so much interested in just seeing that people are able to navigate their data analysis and be able to graduate on time. And that became his business. He employed himself. With time, he employed other people. And from working in the office, at some point, he got married. And right now, he lives in his own compound. He has built a very nice house. He was able to support parents. I remember the first car he bought, he said, I'm going to give to my father because my father had an option of buying the car, not educating me. And since he educated me and not bought the car, my work is now to buy him a car. And that passion really helped him. I was talking about the other day, I was sharing about a student who was the leading KCSE candidate in one of the years. And despite being a medical doctor, they are doing content creation. And so I find him putting, green backgrounds on a seat for him to be able to shoot content by himself in the house. So there's medical work, but again, you find him doing content because he feels there's much more purpose in this instead of being with the striking doctors on the streets. Of course, that's not all what doctors do, but there's still an opportunity to pursue one's purpose beyond being tied to education. Because there's a way you can monetize. There's always means that you can monetize. If you're a good speaker, then there are organizations that are always looking for trainers and for speakers in conferences, even in churches, are organizing. There are trainings that are organized so you can speak there. I know a friend lawyer who is a good cook. I don't know how much she practices, by the way. But I see her advertise food more than the legal services. But the legal services. I have a friend who is working in one of the leading law firms in town, but she's also a very good baker. So yeah, she practices but does a lot of baking, which gives her income as well. Sometimes for some of these people, you find they get to a place when they stop just doing this, like law work, for example, or medicine work, to simply focus. At least I have a friend who stopped treating people. She's a medical doctor, and her work right now is simply coaching. I'm sure she will watch this, so she will know. She ventured into just supporting people. Yeah.
Wow, interesting. That's amazing. You've mentioned about purpose and how people pursuing purpose in what they're doing. What would you say about, or what should inform your passion? Is no, not your passion, your purpose, and how does career tie to your purpose?
And for me, I remember
personal experience
reading this book, Purpose Driven Life by Rick Warren, in 2009.
Wow.
As a Form 4 student. So I was in a place where I was super confused about life, super confused. So I thought maybe reading this book would help me find a purpose.
Some purpose, yeah.
Yeah, of course, all my questions were not answered, and it's okay not to have all questions answered. But I think the first place of establishing and knowing your purpose is by going back to the Creator, because He created you. Must have created you for a purpose. The Bible says in Isaiah 26 verse 3 that He keeps him in perfect peace, him whose purpose is established in Him. So imagine perfect peace just because of knowing your purpose. One of the bigger purposes for believers especially is glorifying God, regardless of what you're doing. It's please God.
Does it bring glory to
please God? As I do communication work, please God. Camera work, please God. Because there's a lot of content that you can shoot. But the question is, does it please God? So for me, the question of purpose and pleasing God was one of the things. But also there's a place of psychometric assessments, and I've done many of them to really understand where my strengths lies and which potential career paths would be useful for me to pursue because of a psychometric assessment. And so that has also helped me mentorship, so that sometimes you don't always run to things that seem to be adding up, yet they do not add up. So I've experienced a lot of mentorship from people who have just helped me to realign on my career. And I pray about my life. I pray about my career life. And for sure, God directs. God tells me this is the way to go. This is the path to walk. And there are times I've had to make hard decisions because then God has directed me to either stop a certain path or rejoin another path. And sometimes giving me hints for future. This is what I would wish to do with you. So I felt, especially for believers, it should be easy to talk to God about your life and about the career path that you wish to pursue, and how then useful that path is building towards an anticipated future that you'd wish to see. Therefore, once you for me, with the clarity that I am pursuing God's purpose, but then my profession becomes the conduit, becomes the way through which then I'm able to pursue God's purpose. Because again, God's purpose does not exist in a vacuum in my life. It's that God will use certain vehicles. So there are times he would use the vehicle of career for me to realize his purpose, for example. So whenever I'm in an organization, I would ask myself, so why me and why this period? And what
is it for such a time as this?
For such a time as this, what does God expect of me in such a time? So for me, I think it's important to live for a higher ideal than simply working to get a living or to make money or simply to feel nice about feeling that you have achieved a purpose. For me, the bigger question is, am I then living for the one who created me? And am I, suppose my bigger challenge, am I ready to go home when he calls me? Because people fear, why would I fear to go and stay with my father? But just fear. But when you just live daily, purposefully, I think you have no reason to fear that you have a time with the Creator when that time comes. But before that, ruthlessly pursue the path that He has placed in your hands.
Wow.
Even if it means it's not the so-called careers that people have said you be this or be the other, then do something that actually give monetization. I know someone who works for a number of companies in the US from here because of internet connectivity. Yet another side, they're engaged in ministry. So you just see someone in ministry and think they're actually not serious about life. They're not making an income. Yet the kind of income they're making, in a day, it's just something else. But just because they have pursued a path that they feel is useful for them and they feel it's something that they're able to monetize, yet they are feeling making money and pursuing my goals are in ministry, but making money, I have an opportunity for making money. So again, is to say, if as I am making this money, money facilitates my achievement of God's purpose. For example, you may need to pay, like say youth, young people going for a retreat. Sometimes they need someone to pay for them because of their capacity to pay, for example. So someone with money uses the money as a vehicle to help other people be in ministry settings. You don't need to have a church struggle with buying a camera, for example, if it's 50,000. We need to be able to have 50,000. I'm able to buy the camera. The camera is being used for the furtherance of God's kingdom. Yeah.
Wow. Awesome. Wonderful. So it's about, does it end up in glorifying God? And
that's a bigger question.
Advancing His
not even self.
Work. Wow.
Not even self. It's not. So it's interesting. I read in one of the books called Sacred Chaos. I read a phrase that says it is for God's glory and for our joy.
Wow.
So when God is happy, when God is glorified, we're happy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good. Amazing. The other thing is there has come different dynamics, and I think we've mentioned a bit of it around jobs that are not necessarily the white collar jobs and all that. I don't know what will be your advice for a young person who is maybe stuck on that they have to get employed, especially when we see the rate of unemployment going very high. What opportunities do you think things people can explore that are not necessarily a job that they have to get to the office to work and get paid, but things they can explore that can actually be helpful for them?
So it's interesting, and I gave a story of a friend. When we were in campus, he was selling charcoal and kerosene.
Wow.
When we were struggling with basic expenses, this guy would buy a 5-liter kerosene and repackage that on so there's some small bottles was used to sell alcohol in the Kenya cans and all. So there will be a portion for 10 shillings, a portion for 20 shillings. Because he knew, he was selling outside where he was staying. And so he started making money as a student. He didn't have parents. He just grew up as an orphan. So he didn't have someone to call for living expenses. This is a university student who had all A's in his transcript, actually. He had all A's. But he started selling kerosene. Because the thing is, how you sell and how someone else who has not much education sells should be different.
Yes.
Your education should help you know how to manage customers, to manage your money, for example,
Keep records.
to keep records. So he had selling charcoal at 50 bob at the 2 kg tin and selling kerosene. He was like a sponsor for us.
So
No, because whenever we knew he wouldn't struggle with
basic
Penimbili expenses. And there are times I remember he would do his assignment on the phone because he didn't have a laptop. I had a laptop. He would do, and I'm sure he will know when I'm talking about him. So he would do his assignment on the phone and share with me and tell me, now because I've done it on the phone, the notes section, some phones you can, well, not most phones you can actually get a document, WPS reader, Word document, and you can just type. He says, no, just a line, edit just a line, and then print. I had a printer, at least I had started business in campus. And he would say, okay, how much is that? I say 20 bob, because it would be like 3 bob per page. And he'll give me 100 bob because he's not in a place where he's struggling. But then this is an A material selling kerosene. But the kerosene is actually getting clients because it's in a place where that is needed. Charcoal, has clients because it's in a place where it's actually getting sold. Yeah. He tried getting employed, he couldn't work. Right now, he has about 3 companies. Wow. My classmate. Yeah. And he's running almost like a social media agency for organizations. And he has employed quite a number of people, including some of my former classmates are actually employed by him. Wow. He started business long when we were in campus. In campus, and he made money then. He continues to make money. Wow. And, he started simply from, who would sit down and start selling kerosene? It's not from pumps, because he would go and buy from a petrol station the kerosene and then repackage it in a way that he would sell at 10 shillings. So it became a fast-moving consumer good. So really, it's not a question of the collar jobs. It's really what is it? Or what is it that you can do? I've seen graduates getting into borders and doing that business. One of my friends, not a graduate really, but decided to get into border. Of course, continued growing his financial base. He has his land. He has settled his family from a Buddha. Really, it's just the way the enthusiasm that he took that, whatever he needed to do. So we don't need to be obsessed
with getting employed.
Getting employed, and you'd find, for example, sometimes the amount of people employed, the amounts they get, some of these guys are able to get it in a day. Yeah. For some of them in an hour, that they know that within an hour, for example, instead of really working so hard to get, say, an entry-level job that will pay 30,000 or 50,000, you could actually get a business that gets to give you that. Yeah. Of course, not everyone is called to become an entrepreneur, but sometimes there are these opportunities. Someone can always sell something. Someone can always give out something. There is a service someone will need that they cannot offer themselves that service. Then you come in handy and then be able to offer that service. So there's opportunity to do so much. Problems. The other thing I need to mention is that the economy has not been growing as much as it should have. So sometimes, especially in a context, you find even multinationals exiting. And not only in Kenya, I think in some other East African countries, you have
it's a problem.
Yeah, you have guys leaving, multinationals closing down. So the World Economic Forum, of course, has given a report. There's a 2025 report on some of the jobs that will be dwindling in the next 10 years, others that will be coming up. So it's to ask, what are some of you have to be employed, what are some of these jobs that will still be necessary beyond what the World Economic Forum says, because it's from a global perspective. Then to also study the local perspective. What is the trend with regard to the job market? If it's in the donor world, for example, what are the donors interested in funding, so that I also start aligning. I know, like a friend just called me yesterday. He has a project down at the coast where he comes from, and he felt that he needs to support his people to diversify by them buying seedlings for fruits. And one of the leading telcos has supported him with almost 2 million first batch to simply support people at home. As he does the support, he still has his income there because he has to facilitate himself, take lunch and all. Beyond that, he's also employed on a full-time basis.
Wow.
So I mean, there's opportunity for even people to push community projects that have returns for them. So people should not just look at waking up at 8 and closing up at 5. There's opportunity to even start working at 5 p.m. and close at 1 a.m. and you still be fine.
You'll have your the rest of your day.
Yeah. Wow.
Amazing. That's amazing. So it's about being keen to spot opportunities and seeing how you can solve people's problems.
Yes,
So
quite
just
strategy.
realize if you're able to solve somebody's problems,
They'll pay you for
that's
that.
how you get paid.
They'll pay you for that. If you solve my problems and I have money, I'll then be able to pay you for. I mean, there are times when, like, say you are driving and a car breaks down. You are the masses of the mechanic. You won't start telling them, I need your KCP certificate or your KCSE certificate. Where did you go to school? No. What you want is for them to sort out the deal, to fix the car. If they fix, then you pay them for that because that's what they do. So really, people get paid for what they do, not what they have studied.
True.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing. And also, I think you mentioned about skills and as we see the trends and how things are evolving, it's important to actually have a foresight of what skills will be needed in the future. Like right now, as AI is really coming up and already it's here, but how can you maybe learn these skills and employ them for your future career development?
Yeah. I mean, for example, I mentioned the World Economic Forum that does surveys for careers to see which careers will remain and some others that will not be there. So that is already a public document that someone should be able to read. The response to AI, for me, I strongly believe AI will never replace people. It's just how to use it because it's the way it is revolutionizing how things are done. For example, AI would make things be done faster than before. Because of artificial intelligence, you're able to set up a camera and let it run by itself because there are certain elements technologically that allows you to simply set it up.
Yes.
But in the days of old, recording was different.
You have to
And of course, producing the content when you want to package this AI, even through certain tools, like editing softwares, for example. You can do color correction. You don't have to have color. You can change by background because of AI. Of course, there is a question of generative AI, like the chat GPTs and the likes. They are pre-trained. ChatGPT will not give you something that has not been
taught.
So it's you who is thinking.
Someone needs to train.
Someone ever told me that AI will only do 20%. You will do the 80%. So if you don't know what to get from it, you will never get. So you must first be clear on what you need to get from AI, so that it can help you.
True. The people actually employed to be able to know how best to prompt AI for the solution we need. Very important.
Wow.
Amazing. Yeah. Moving on. I think as we continue to navigate around career and finding meaning and purpose, I think another trend that I have observed is how people are shifting careers. I think recent research showed that people under 30 years, like in a span of like 5 years, over almost half have shifted careers at some point. And I think you're not for your career, but even shifting job places, that has happened to you quite much. I don't know what you can speak around that, especially when people are seeking flexibility. Mental health has become quite an important issue nowadays, and all those dynamics. How does somebody need to know that this is the time maybe to shift the job or something like that?
Yeah, from an overall perspective, I would say that someone's journey within an employer should be guided by God. Because for me, it's a question of, for how long does God want me here? And for me, because I've had an opportunity to change jobs, there are times when the job is so good. I remember in one of the instances, I was with the CEO over the weekend. But I talked to her on Monday and told her, deep down myself, I feel it's time for me to go. Yet I was doing so much for the organization. I told her, you know what? It's time for me to go. I need to change. It's the time that I need to make the shift. And I feel from in my spirit that this is, if I worked here beyond now, I'll be a liability to the organization.
More than enough.
Yeah. And so, I would hate a situation where I'm waking up to become a difficult for an organization. So that's one, an element of just being guided by God. And I'm in a place where I challenge even younger people. Don't just having 50 applications. Just let God guide you into where you wish to go. Sometimes you say you apply for 1,000, you say maybe one of them will work or two. Can't you just trust God for the one, and He is able to just lead you? Sometimes the patience of letting God guide and lead you towards the career choice is the patience that we are lacking, because we just want to be busy applying on a daily basis to simply get to make the next move, which I personally think, especially for believers, is not right. Simply trust God. In one of the organizations that I serve as a board director, because it's an NGO, they do fundraising. The chair of the board said one day a very profound statement. She said, we will not apply for any call for applications that come. No, we'll just trust God for which we need to apply to. And they just focus their energies to apply for that. And then they get an income. And they get funding from that particular one instead of just throwing proposals, because you can make your life to be all about writing proposals. Yeah, which is sometimes not always the best. So trusting God for that. The second thing that I've observed is a question of trying to settle down, especially because I'm imagining someone in their 20s to 30s, they're trying to exploring a path.
Yeah.
What is the path that they need to pursue? And that path helps to align. So, because for starters, you might have to take jobs that are not aligned to your purpose, and you can even get a second job that is not aligned to your purpose. So then it is a question of, it takes time sometimes. So the move sometimes could be explained by people who are trying to find a footing. And then once someone finds a footing, and finding a footing may mean maybe I think I'm better at employing myself, or finding a foot maybe I've actually gotten the dream job. For some, I know finding a footing meant going back to school to do postgraduate studies in that area, and then they are just able to focus completely on a different area. So I don't think that people should fear changing jobs when they need to, because then again, you also don't want to remain not very useful for an organization and disturbing managers, disturbing everyone because you are not clear about what you need to do. If you're clear about a place to change, then it is helpful. Of course, I'm also in a place where I'm thinking it is also helpful to maintain some period in a workplace where it's a bit quotable. Maybe a few months may not help. Anything from 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years would be helpful to see something.
So it's not just about I've been here for 6 months and
I'm already thinking about leaving. I know when I was younger, I thought I can simply move, but I think over time I've noted it's not helpful. You need just, with the difficulties that there will be in organizations, one can attempt to simply, just do what they can to maintain. Sometimes certain things may be beyond control. You can't control your being in a place, and sometimes God uses such to tell you, hey,
it's time to
rise up and get to the next assignment, because times and seasons are in His hands.
Different. Wow. Good. Awesome. Wonderful. So it's about discerning God's leading in your life and where He'd want you to actually go.
Yeah.
Wow.
Awesome. And in a way, it's just to know that Christianity does not call people to suspend their brains. It's actually to say that I'm actually combining the brains that God has given me to actually make a decision together with faith, because some decisions, most of them will not necessarily make sense for what you can say physically. It makes sense for what then God is saying.
Wow, amazing. You can also mention beyond even just God's leading. I think in the past, people there was a way people stayed in jobs for longer than in the current generation. I don't know if there's something that you can attribute that to. Is it people's tolerance, or why do people keep? It's kind of more easy to shift jobs right
now
than it was in the past.
maybe the more knowledge of jobs could be maybe a little factor somewhere, because right now you will know jobs in a certain line by logging in online. Maybe before that was not possible, because jobs would be done in a notice board. Well, of course, I still see some notice boards in the CBD Nairobi here where people go to read about jobs. Yeah, there is one, I think, at the fire station, and there is one near Odeon there. There was a Smothers Hotel. I don't know whether that hotel is still there, but there was another notice board. But there are places in town where people would go to get jobs. There are still places like the Ambassador near Hilton there where people still go and sit down. So there was that element. The other thing was newspapers, which was a bit privileged. I remember getting to learn that jobs are advertised on Fridays, newspapers. So not everyone. So I think for me, the democratization of the internet space, where one is able to learn more about jobs, may have been a factor. The other thing is that people would be taken from campus. Before you even graduate, you're already sure that you have a job. There wasn't very many companies, but again, there were not many graduates. There were not very many people, so there was more jobs than people. So people would be sure that I'm already going to get a job. But now we have more people and technology. Fortunately, also more employers, more industries have opened up that are able to take up people. So then, and again, right now, I think with this generation, the desire to keep on trying. And I think the other factor I would mention is that sometimes in the days of old, people would mostly be established in a place they build and settle there. So the destabilization of just moving from your place to another, unless it's a government that has sent you, sometimes could have potentially be a factor. Right now, there seems to be more options for exploring more, including just remote working is being an option, and people are able to keep on checking what potentially works for them. As much as sometimes mental health has been said to be place where they feel because of my mental health, I'm changing jobs. It's toxic work environment. I don't think we have a lot of tenacity as a generation to withstand. I see people complaining about Gen Z employees. I've had a Gen Z reporting to me, and sometimes just hard to manage these people. But of course, there are still some who are able to do their best.
Amazing. Interesting. You've mentioned at some point about sometimes you need to design whether you have to go on to do a master's or advance your academics. I don't know how important that is. Maybe say for somebody who is not looking for employment, somebody who's just in business, do you think they need to advance their level of education, like do a master's, PhD, or is that cut for just people who are going the academia way, or maybe the route of employment? How important is advancing your...
I hear you. It's very important for everyone. So you understand that as you get into places where you want to submit a more structured proposal, they've asked for academic documents, because at that point they don't necessarily, they mean organizations. If you want to consult for big organizations, that means then academics would be helpful to just pivot to say by there beyond the practical experience. I'm also studying. I have interacted with people not in full-time employment or engagement, but taking PhDs to simply get to understand the world better. One of my closest friends is doing a master's in policy, yet they are not employed by anyone. There's nowhere they'll be seated to analyze policy for an organization, but they have their own businesses. And so they're learning, policies do affect businesses, don't they? So that they're in a position where they're understanding, this is how policy affects
my business.
not only my business, but the society where I live, the people I live with. And so she can contribute in national debates because of this learning of a course that is taking so much money and so much time for her. Yes, she's not planning to get employed. She doesn't have a CV, but she has businesses that she's running. So the question is, I mean, it's not for employment alone. Yeah, and so for some employers, sometimes they get offended to have people who have too much credentials. Because sometimes, I mean,
overqualified.
Just too qualified, or sometimes a lot of education comes with a little pride. So, yeah. So it helps for anyone to pursue further education, but you must have interest. Masters, PhDs is a very tough journey, very lonely, I must say. So you must really be prepared to handle it, and then just be sure that then this is a path I wish to pursue. Just pursue it. But if you're not sure, just leave it. Let the other people like ourselves who have enrolled to fight with it because we feel that we want to do it.
What was your motivation as a person?
I think I want to teach in the future. I want to do a lot of research, not only for academic institutions, but also what they call applied research, research for organizations. Majorly for me to be with the younger people, especially when teaching them, because teaching is beyond sitting in a class and administering exams. And I have had that opportunity, especially this year. I've had an opportunity where I'm an examiner for thesis. I've supervised students in DESTA, masters, and I've just seen the impact that I remember one of the students inviting me to their graduation because I've really supported them through this journey. And it gives me a lot of fulfillment to just see a life that is touched. So my major number one motivation is just to be in a learning institution and deal with younger people and support these younger people to be able to achieve what they may need to achieve.
Nice. Yeah. Amazing. Wow. As we come to a close, what and you mentioned also a bit about it, about the place of God and career. Are there a story that maybe you think best illustrates how we ought to think about our career and Christianity, basically?
Yeah, so a number of elements come into place. For example, I am head of media ministry in my church, and no one pays me for that, so I'm a volunteer staff. I work with many volunteers as well. So it's my career already supporting ministry, not direct in monetary forms, but the fact that I can use my expertise for the furtherance of the gospel, for me, that is already a path that I've seen useful. The other path, so the path is on the skills. I found myself in steering committees that require communication professionals, and it's on volunteer basis. So I'm available. I serve in 2 boards right now. My major input has been around branding, visibility, and communication. So most times I'm going to ask myself, so how best would I apply myself to instances, opportunities that would require my career knowledge, and giving this as a free service. So there's that place of just sharing your knowledge and just doing. God also wants varied careers, professionals, because for me, our knowledge, stems from God. His all wisdom stems from God, and I think Colossians states this quite clearly about who is the source of all wisdom and knowledge, because all wisdom and knowledge consists in the Lord. But on the other hand, is when you're working and you have income, the ministry requires money. Ministry requires money. I remember at one instance, not very long ago, actually, I think about 2-3 days ago, we needed to have subscription for CapCut to edit reels for church. And then it has been, whenever you're using CapCut on the free version, just teaches you patience because of the adverts. So he said,
nowadays they're adding everything to be premium.
Yes, everything has a tag to it. So yeah, just by the how much is CapCut in a month? I paid for a month at some point. So just the other day I saw how much is the annual cost. It runs about 8,000. Can we just look for this money? Because this CapCut is serving the church.
Yes.
So instead of thinking of fundraiser, just
It.
pay it. I have seen like this week the team has already done 4 videos. And ordinarily they do one. Sometimes the one can be done for 2 weeks, but they have done 4 because the motivation is that the CapCut is already here. And it's only because of seeing the income you're making from the career could be used. It could just be used for ministry. So there's so many opportunities where God would then position his people to simply then use the skills that you have for the furtherance of kingdom, for the furtherance of his ministry. For me, it's just position yourself and just for me, it's just to say, the money I make is not my own. You can now have all the savings in the world as you would have wished. But the fact that then maybe whatever you've done is not really guided by God, then, I mean, money will disappear. But you can be in purpose and be free to give. Because I've never seen someone get broke because of giving to God. That even when you're in need, like even a period that I was without a job, God ensured that this family is taken care of. We were properly provided for over 6 months without a full-time job. 6 months without a full-time job. Just showing the extent by which then God has our interests at heart. He thinks about us. He thinks about you. He thinks about me. So there is a way even in terms of career, it's just to simply even leave the career to him. And ask him, God, shall you use it? We just give a final example. I remember attending commission 2017. I just started the master's program. There's a way, because I had struggled getting the fees, I had said there's a way I'll work hard, get money from this. I remember one of the evenings, when we just coming from prayers, the question was, will you just leave this master's to me? I felt it's just God very, very specifically telling me, just leave these academics to me. Just let them. Let go. Just let go.
Let God.
And let God. Just God taking over. And I said, you know what? Whatever you want to do with these academics, simply just do it.
Wow.
A lot of these things are born from a place of prayer in the private, so that you're waking up to make decisions and people understand what kind of decisions are these. Yet you have spent time with God. They do not know that you have actually spent time with God. And he has guided and directed you towards then making this investment or this move or the other move, because he makes a way. So I think for me, it's just put God first. Talk to God on every simple decision. The days of old will pray when we are going for long journeys. And even nowadays, we pray for long journeys. Oh, I have a trip to Mombasa. Use vehicles that have been built by people's hands. But how about going to Juja? I don't want to pray about going for a short distance. Whatever can happen in a long distance can happen for a short distance. So this dichotomy is the view of God. No, God needs to be involved in our careers, in our families, in our jobs, in our day-to-day engagements. Really God. And it's not using the name of God for the sake of it. Because sometimes people use the name of God casually. People use the name of God to be recognized as Christians, or to find some level of solidarity among people who profess their faith.
Give them an upper hand.
So it pains me that sometimes people want to use the name of God to their advantage. It should never be the case. That actually, I don't need to mention God, but actually people can say this one is a believer. Or if not a believer, this one looks like they fear God because of the way I speak and the way I also conduct myself. So that the godliness in my life should be as a result of what people are able to see, not what I'm really saying. Of course, the saying is important, but sometimes we use the saying to advance our own agenda, which is not always right.
Wow. Thank you. That's very helpful and insightful. Final one would be, are there ways you feel like, or you think the church maybe other institutions can can be of help to nurture and help young people who are navigating in their career journeys and all that?
Yeah, so many ways. I fellowship in CITAM, and so one of the very huge benefits that I got is joining young professionals. So CITAM has a young professionals ministry or fellowship. It's an affinity fellowship, really. So brings together young people who are working. So, like for my case, I interacted with different people at different stages of their career, and I would learn from them. We had older people, we had middle and younger people. And there are people who are just young at heart and are just willing to come to teach, to encourage. And I know other churches, they have like young adults in some settings. We have many ministries in churches, and you find that so from a PCMF person who is older would work with a PCMF who is younger. For my church, AIC in the village, a Christian CMF, Christian Men Fellowship. So the older men would work with the younger men. So the church has this opportunity for the elders to be available for the younger ones, really for mentorship. But also the churches can be a place where they can offer internships. So for structured churches, they have finance department, there is HR, there is admin. So young people can actually get opportunities in some of these places. Some churches have gone ahead to have universities. The IC church that I come from has a few universities and colleges, virtually in a number of parts in this country. CITAM has a Christian University. For the evangelicals, Africa International University, AIU, is there. So these universities can be places where people can not only go there for ministry, but actually get to such universities. They have HR, they have accounts, they have legal, they have, receptionists, all these administrators. So all these are actually opportunities that the church could pivot to have people then placed in there. But also the other thing for me about church is that then some people are in places of authority in the corporate world. Why not pick people you see in church are so diligent in what they do and give them opportunities in some of these places, and you'll be shocked.
Yes.
There's some people who are so dedicated and diligent to do what they need to do. So for me, there is the networking that needs to happen in church, which people of the world, and this one friend, I did a TikTok the other day and said, I can't go to church because I never get a deal. I go to the bar because as we drink, I get a deal. The other place, of course, people network along golf courses, and people get deals there. Sometimes in church, we've been accused we're just so heavenly minded to be of any earthly benefits. Yeah.
Wow, interesting. Wow, very important. I hope all the people who are of influence are hearing this, and they'll be able to implement these things so that we're able to help more young people.
Sure.
Yeah. Any final thoughts around our discussion today as we wrap up?
Sure. And I will say this. Just release your career to God. For sometimes it sounds like a reckless statement to make, but let Him do what He wants to do. For the various seasons of life that one will find themselves in.
Yeah.
It has been said that God is the biggest economist because He doesn't let experiences just run away. That what I am doing now, including business, God can reroute you from business to, say, a corporate, and even take you out of procurement to even medicine. Who knows? Like, there are all these opportunities, and for me, it's just to be faithful for every season. You can only be faithful if you've just released it to the Lord. Told Him, God, simply take over. And that has given me a lot of peace. I will never fear when someone says, I want to fire you. I'm going to fire you. Because I say, you never employed me. You never employed me. Number two, I'm never always answerable to you. Structurally, I'll be answerable to you because I have to respect the person I report to. And I give them respect. I'll trust them. I'll let myself to be led. But I must be reminded. So God is watching.
First answerable to God.
So I am answerable to Him because He gave me the opportunity.
Yes.
So, and I will do my best regardless of organization or politics, I simply want to do my best whenever God has given the opportunity. When he says it's time to go, I'll simply go, so that I don't have to wake up fearing that someone would actually fire me. If that happens, it's because God has allowed it to happen. Why? Because I've let him to take over my career. I let him take over, take control of all that I do. So it's just important for me, leave it to God, but be faithful. Every passing day, just being sure that I've done the best that I could. For some organizations where timesheets are uploaded in the online for payment, are you sure you worked for the 8 hours? Are you sure you worked for the 7 hours, for example? In some places 10. So just the assurance that you've worked for the time that you're required. Of course, the other challenge is organizations pushing you to work for more hours. So is the organization stealing from you time? Again, that's another conversation. But for me, it's a question of just releasing it to God. And so I remember in this workplace, this being told I'll be fired. I said, okay, if we want it to happen, okay, let it just happen. Because it won't happen if God has not allowed it. But then you can't use it as blackmail.
Yes.
So the fact that I've released everything to God is to say I'm going to do my best. But when God says it's time, then it's simply time. And sometimes for me, he has done it when I'm so uncomfortable about leaving. But if I get an instruction that it's time to go, it's simply time to go.
Yes. Amazing. That's very packed. And that's something we can even discuss further around, but for the sake of time,
yes,
we hope that maybe someday we'll get an opportunity to do another conversation.
Sure.
But thank you very much for the insights you have shared, and I believe our audience have been able to learn something. And yes, let's keep engaging in these conversations.
Sure, and thank you so much for having me.
Thank you very much. I also invite you to engage with us on the comment section. Share the things you have learned and let it be helpful to others. And if there are things that you're curious about and you love us to have such conversations, you can drop them at the comment section and we will be sure to look at them. Thank you.